Hey everyone, welcome back to Cultivation with Christy. I'm Christy. Today we're going to be planting some tomato starts. Now, see what I got going on over here. So I started these back in March, and they're a little skinny here, but we're going to go ahead and get them into the ground because it's going to be raining the next couple of days. So I'm just going to show you what I like to do. And actually, alright, I was going to try to prop you up, but we're just going to do this with one hand and we'll just see how it goes. It's a little bright out here. It's getting dusk time. So I've got a pretty deep hole. This one is a Super Steak tomato. And I made the hole deep enough to where the soil is going to come up to its bottom leaves here. If it had leaves along the stem, we're just going to pinch those off. So I'm going to make it a little bit deeper. I've got raised beds, so it's a lot easier to dig holes with them. So like I said in my welcome video, I'm not a master gardener. This is just what works for me. Some stuff that I've seen recommended, hacks if you will. So this is just regular old, foot soaking Epsom salt. I literally got it on the personal care aisle, with all the foot soaks and stuff like that. So I added that into my hole, just a good sprinkle. And then I add a regular old antacid Tums. So the Epsom salt is going to provide magnesium to your plant, like a sort of fertilizer. Well, it is a fertilizer, growth hormone. And then your little Tums tablet, you're going to drop that down in there. That is going to provide calcium. So that's going to keep your plant from having blossom end rot. And that's just where the end of the tomato, where the blossom is, rot from the bottom. And your tomato will be no good. You could cut it off, but most people don't like to eat ugly tomatoes. So adding a Tums to your hole is going to give something for the roots to grow to, and that will give it nourishment when it gets to that down. So I also, this time, I have not done this before, but we were watching that video earlier that I posted. So I'm going to add an egg in here. And again, that's just giving something for the roots to grow to. I'm going to give that a nice crack. Give it just a start. Then I'm going to cover up a little bit of that. Just cover it up because you don't want the roots to touch your Epsom salt, because that's going to burn your roots and your plant's going to not fare well. And again, I'm going to do this one-handed. Maybe. So we got a good root system on this guy. Usually it would come out all in one lump, but since I'm doing it with one hand here, we're gonna make it work. I'm gonna dig him down, and then I'm just gonna start to cover up the roots. You kind of want to lay him down so he grows vertically instead of horizontally. That will give all these nice little hairs on the plant will all turn to roots. Once he starts growing and the soil's on him and he gets nice and watered, and all those roots will grow to the nutrients that we've provided in the hole. Alright, we've got him all in the ground. Like I said, we buried him up to his neck pretty much. So he used to look like this, one nice long stem, but we planted all of this underneath the soil. So all of this is going to be a root system that's going to support him. We don't want any of the leaves touching the soil, so try to keep those away. And then we're just going to create a little moat around him. So the soil, it will pull the water away from the stem, but it will create a moat here for the water to sink down to those roots. Okay? So we're just going to do that all along here. And let me show you this new trellis that I got. So previously, as you can see kind of over here, I got the setting sun behind me, but I've got these tomato cages, and I usually use those for support. And now I am using, well, it's not a cattle panel, but whatever, this chicken wiring or fencing. I have unrolled one of those tomato cages is what it is, and I've gotten 2 T-posts. Well, technically I have 3 T-posts, and I just ran that fencing along those posts, and then I'm going to tie the tomatoes up to that support whenever they get tall enough, and then we'll take off the leaves. I'll do another video on that later, but that's all I'm doing. You want to keep your tomatoes 12 to 18 inches apart from each other. So as you can see over here in this bed, I've kind of laid them out where I'm going to put them. Same with this one, all along these panels. And that's it. You'll just make a hole about 12 to 14, 18 inches apart from each other. And again, my soil is nice and soft because I opted out for raised beds. And we've got some volunteers here. I think this one's probably a zinnia. And that's nice. That'll attract pollinators and everything else to pollinate your bed. So I'm just gonna get a handful of this Epsom salt. Sprinkle that down in there. See? I'm gonna get one of these Tums, plop that down in there. Grab an egg, plop that down in there. Now, to be fair, eggs are expensive, so I'm only gonna do it on these 5. And on these 5 over here, I'm going to not do it and just do my normal Tums and Epsom salt and see if it makes a difference. If it doesn't make a difference, I won't add the egg next year. Okay, I got him out in one piece like he would normally come since I paused you. And we're just gonna run him this way. Right? Cover him up. Now, if you were doing this in ground, and what we did with my friend's garden the other day, the one I posted about, you could create a hole in the soil, right, in your in-ground soil, and just backfill. So take you some nice, good quality garden soil. It can be bagged, organic, whatever you like, and just fill the hole with the good garden soil instead of putting back your earth that you dug up. That is a way of amending the soil. So if you've never amended your soil, you've never added nutrients to your soil, then you're going to want to add some amendment. Either compost, top fill it with compost, or just garden soil is a way to amend your soil. So once we get him in there, my little tag broke, but this will be aroma. I'm just going to put that in there so maybe I'll remember. I can fix it later. Oops, and I dug up my zinnia. Put that back. And I'm going to water this in real nice. Going to create my moat. Try to keep the leaves as they grow up. As they grow up, I will end up pinching these off, or cutting if you have nice clippers. But for now, we're going to make sure that he's got enough green and chlorophyll, or green leaves to create chlorophyll, to make sure that he's getting health from the sun and everything around him. So again, try not to have the leaves touch him. And that's it. Again, if you have comments, questions, leave them below. Again, not a master gardener, but this is how I do it. This is how I roll. And we'll see you on the other side.